I
Oh,
just
that
love it. We're so
tune.
in sync.
We're bopping
I
away
mean,
with the
come
music.
on.
Hello, hello. It's the Woman Wise podcast.
So excited to be here today. Another Wednesday, another midweek. So I'm your host, Janine Lingenfelder. And of course, joining me is my amazing co-host, Sara Haboubi. How are you today?
I am amazing. I feel great, really energized. Yeah, life here is always full of surprises. And if you put yourself out there and you're out there and you're meeting people, and you're talking to these, especially women, it's just the
Absolutely.
stories just get better and better. And yeah, there's a bottomless well of incredible empowered women
Oh, for
who
sure.
have great stories to share and great wisdom to share, aren't there?
No, it's exactly that. And it's just so part of our mission, right? Is to empower and inspire women in Dubai, really showcasing their stories and their achievements. And we have an amazing guest today. So, Sarah, who is it?
It's Jyoti Gulati. Jyoti, welcome to the
Hi,
podcast.
hi, thank you.
Lovely
No,
to have you
thank
with us.
you. Thanks for coming on. So, Jyoti, you're another one of the Strategic Business Connects people that we've met, and and we even saw you earlier today, which was fantastic. So, and I learned a bit more about you today, which was great. But we need your story to be shared, and we need your wisdom to be shared with so many other women here.
Yeah, it's very nice to connect with uh, successful women like you both. So it's a nice platform, and we connected, and it's a great opportunity for me.
No, it's lovely to have you here. So, tell us a little about who you are and how did you get to pursue this specific career that you're going to delve into a little bit more.
Okay, sure. My name is Jyoti Gulati. Basically, I'm from India. So, I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I'm doing my practice, running my practice in India. And I have started my company 2 years back in Dubai, UAE. So, if I talk about my professional journey, I worked with multinational, I worked with big fours. Then one day I thought of starting my own business. So now I call myself as a successful businesswoman. So
Yes.
I'm running my business in India, I'm running my business in UAE, and we are serving clients across world. Like we are serving Australia, we are serving USA, Canada. So we are serving across. So that's all about my business.
So two questions. The first one is, why did you leave your corporate position then? What was the main thing that was happening for you, that because that's a big step to go out on your own. Like, that's not a small thing.
Yeah, because Sarah, I'll tell you, a lot of women's, like I would say, most of the women's face challenge of growth in their corporate jobs. See, I'll tell you the practical example with me. I was working with one of the big four in like just 5 years back. So I basically informed my pregnancy to my manager. So I did that because it was normal for me, and it's like I want to pre-plan the things that whatever role I'm doing, I should deliver everything. I should give the proper handover. So I informed this thing to my manager. But my manager, what I got in return, that he did not give the promotion or growth to me. He gave that growth to somebody else. So I was deserving candidate at that point in time. But just because being a female, I did not get that. So that thing basically cracked my mind that yes, now it's a time to do your own thing. You have the capability, you can do it. Rather doing it for others, let's do it for yourself. So I quit everything on the corporate side, and I started doing my business. I started doing practicing, because I'm a practicing chartered accountant in India. And then after like 1 or 2 years, I thought, let's move your like steps to other countries. Then we started in like UAE.
And your husband is your partner in not in
Yeah.
life, not just in life, but in
Yes.
business
Not just
too.
in life, yes.
That's it.
How
No
does
doubt.
that work? Is that like, do you have a good? Have you got a good working relationship too? That you must do. Like, you must get on like a house on fire.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, sometimes we are fighting related to our work. Like this thing can't be done in that manner, this thing can be done in that manner. But yes, it's a great win-win situation for both of us, because we are doing it together, but he relies more on me as a
He's
woman,
not watching this. He's not watching this, is he? Because we,
No, 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 he's
Yeah,
not
very
that's
good.
watching.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's an amazing how you've grown as well. Obviously, being 2 years in Dubai, how different is it having the business here versus having it in India?
So I would say in UAE, there are laws and regulations which are being implemented new. If I talk about the
Mm.
taxation, VAT was there, but corporate tax being implemented in 2023, which is very new for the country, I would say. But as a professional, as a chartered accountant, we have a good experience and knowledge of handling the taxation matters in India. So the same skills and knowledge and experience I'm using in this market, creating an awareness among the business owners that how they can be more compliant in related to their taxation matters, tax compliances, how they need to get themselves registered, how they need to be compliant with the registrations, plannings, payments, and
Mm.
filings. So everything, it's very important for the business owners to know that what are the laws and regulation to be compliant with, which is prevailing in the market and which is
Because this
applicable.
this is this is new. This is new for Dubai.
This
People
is
don't
new.
pay, and it's kind of a strange situation because obviously no one pays income tax here. But if you are even freelance, it doesn't matter what kind of what kind of business you're running, you have to
True.
be registered. And so do you have to submit your sort of returns every year then, even though
Yes.
you're not going to be charged income
Yeah.
tax?
I'll tell you, the business owners, specifically the small and medium enterprises, they are into their comfort zone. They have no knowledge and they don't want to do it. But I'll tell you that corporate tax is mandatory, registration is mandatory, then yearly return filing is also mandatory. Then corporate tax planning is the essential thing, like how you can plan your financials in such a manner that you see the taxes are payable now. Like if your income is more than 375,000, your profits are exceeding this limit, then 9% taxes are applicable. But if you don't plan your financials properly, then you end up paying more.
Mm.
So what I would suggest, like all business people, all business owners, to plan their financials so that they end up paying less taxes and they can save money for their business growth. So that's
Talking
basic.
about, sorry, Jyoti, talking about taxes, what are the common mistakes that people make and how can they avoid them besides contacting you to get it sorted? But what are the common mistakes?
See, I'll tell you, basis my experience. I have seen people because it's a new concept in this country. So I've seen people even opting for registrations. They don't know that which category of entity they belongs to, whether they are sole proprietorship or whether it's a LLC. So these are things, small, small things on which the awareness is very important. Like the category they don't know, then how financial statements are also being need to be prepared using the international financial reporting standards. So they don't know that how the financials to be prepared, what all reporting needs to be done, where what needs to be filled, how to plan the expenditure, how to plan the revenue. So basically, by the implementation of the taxes, by the implementation of the laws, now businesses are more need to be more basically stringent on these things.
So everyone needs you, basically. I think that's the bottom line that we've kind of got
Yes.
to. It's
Everyone's
because
got a business, needs to phone her, yeah.
everyone's got a business. If you're running any kind of business, then you need that expert advice. And I
True.
think, yeah, I think a lot of people, as you said, are in the comfort zone, and maybe they got their heads in the sand, thinking, no, no,
Yes.
no, it's fine. But I think many years ago, this is something that stuck with me, and I love to share it with people because I think probably there are people out there who were like me in the past, which
True.
was I thought when I ran a company, I had to know everything about running a company. I had to do every single role myself. And then I went on this amazing weekend. And the one thing two things came out of it. One was about referrals. And if you can't do something to help someone, but you know someone else who can, always pass on that person's details.
Exactly.
Because, and don't expect anything in return. You just do it because it's the right thing to do, and it's from the goodness of your heart. And the second one was, you have skills and talents, and I promise you, you are literally like my opposite. There are skills and talents that you're really good, and you have to capitalize on that. And whatever your opposite is, you must find someone who's really good at that and pay them to do it.
True.
Because otherwise you waste time, you waste energy, it's very stressful, and you are literally my complete polar opposite, Jyoti. So we have to come to you.
So true.
I agree, Sara, because I'll tell you, the way we are delivering the work nowadays, our client referring us to other people. So that's a big achievement for me as a person, because when your client is referring you to somebody, then it's a like a win-win situation for me.
Well, you've done a good job. I mean, there's nothing better than
Yeah,
someone referring you. Yeah, it's the best feedback you could get.
exactly. So I'm happy with that, basically.
Yeah, you know what? It's so true. You have to outsource the things that does not fuel your inner fire. And yeah, totally agree with you there, Sarah.
Yeah.
Most people obviously are intimidated by finances. What are some of the simple steps that you could recommend for people, especially business owners, to take to improve their financial literacy? Are there any tips that you can share?
See, I'll tell you, for the business owner, it's not very recommended to look each and every details, because their motive is to run the business, not looking at the financials. But yes, as a professional, what I can suggest to other professionals, that always inform your client about their financial position, that how they are performing, what is their numbers. They should know the highlights, and what are the areas where they need to work out, basically. Discuss with your clients. Look for the solution. If you found that this is a process which is a non value add for my business, which is not creating a value, basically, in the form of revenue or in other form, so inform your client and have a word with the client, and take a resolution on resolution of the same, so that the business can run effectively and efficiently. And as a business owner, it is always good to basically to go back to your professional and asking that how it is, can you prepare a customized reports. Because what normally we do is, we always, even if my client is not asking for, what we do, we prepare a monthly dashboards of their numbers, and we are sending it to the clients senior management, that they can see the highlights, and they can always get back to us that why it's down, why it's more, why, where are the variances, how we can resolve them. So basically, once they see the picture, then only they can come back. They cannot come back if they don't have anything. They're busy in their businesses, right? And I can't push them.
No, you know what? It's funny because I am not great with money. Okay, so anyone who knows me, anyone watching this, Mom, yes, I know, is but I think knowing your numbers is it's liberating. It might be terrifying initially, but I always get that sense that actually it's so liberating once you know where you are, and you're not
Exactly.
guessing, and you're not trying to you probably have, maybe some people are thinking it's worse than it is, and some people think it's better than it is. But actually knowing your numbers is probably, so crucial. I mean, at the end of the day, you're in business to make money. And if you don't make money, or you're putting yourself in a situation where you could cost yourself a lot of money,
Yes.
then, you're not really making the most effective use of your time.
And if you
Exactly.
don't know how much money you are making, then you cannot grow. You cannot think of earning more and big. And you are doing business just to earn the money and to make the people satisfied and contributing to the economy as well.
Mm. But I think that's also important why financial checkups are so important. So, how often would you say would business owners need to review their financials?
Monthly.
Monthly.
Yearly we are doing for the compliances, but for the
Yes.
business owners, it's always good to see the monthly positions.
Yeah, it's a good
Wow.
habit to get into, isn't it, though? Like, it's like anything. I suppose it's, as you said, it's like a financial checkup, financial fitness
True.
test, like how financially fit is your company. If you don't know
Yeah.
your numbers, how do you know what to do? How do
Yeah.
you know to do more or less, etc.? Like it's a sensitive subject, isn't it? Like money
It is.
is, it's something that is very emotional. There's a big emotional connection with kind
See,
of money.
I'll tell you, for the organization, there are like long-term plans are also being built up in the organization, big organization, but it is always review your plans. Like if you will not review your plans, then you cannot plan the balance of the months in an effective manner. So it is
Mhm.
always good to have a monthly review, monthly reports generated for the business so that businesses know that how they are doing it, what needs to be done. So everything I think monthly.
So with that, with the checkups, what are there any key areas that you focus on with these health checks, or do you check everything?
So key areas depends on the nature of business, but I'll tell you how we
Excellent.
can basically identify the key areas.
Mm.
So if it's a service industry, just taking an example, if it's a service industry, my major cost is, let's suppose, on the human resource, like on the employee salary. So I need to see that if it is more, if it is more than my budget, or if it is more what I expected, then in that scenario I need to analyze that why it's more, or because we need to see the people we have hired, are they contributing in generating the revenues or not. So all these
Mm.
questions, all these checks needs to be done. And IT processes also, like, because nowadays it's all IT. Accounting is also being done on the softwares. Processes are also being done using the AI techniques, the information technology. So it is always good to check your processes to see whether all processes running smoothly or not, whether there is a glitch in the process, how we can resolve it. And if see, I'm not an IT expert, but always I can hire somebody to check that for an organization. So it is
Mm.
always good to see the position and the checks, every checks to be maintained. And it is a compliance also, like, it's not for a business owner. Business owner needs to do it, but it's a compliance also, that your organization should run in an effective manner.
Because it's quite a minefield out there, especially it's
Yes.
not so obvious here.
Yeah,
People when they arrive, they don't realize that so many different types of licenses, so many different types, obviously the
true.
compliance, lots of regulations, which is understandable. The country has to run, and they have to make sure that people who are here are doing the right thing. uh,
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
you can kind of get
specifically,
caught up in that.
yeah, specifically UAE, we are basically expert in guiding the people, uh, basis the nature of the activity they wanted to perform, and basis the work budgets that what they can opt for. If I talk about people who wants to relocate and do business in UAE, they don't have knowledge what is free zone, what is mainland, like in which area they can do that activity, which area is feasible for the business. So we basically guide them that how they can do it, base keeping in mind their cost, their budget, and the business they wanted to perform. So we basically keep everything in mind and then accordingly guide our customers. So professional in the approach we are.
I wanted
And
to ask you, sorry, Sarah, with regards to where the world is going with AI and all the digital stuff, what are the key cybersecurity measures that business owners can actually take to really protect their financial information?
So there are techniques to be used for the IT checkup. Like there are trails in itself in the system. Audit trails are being maintained.
Okay.
So we should be using the authenticated software for doing the accounting. So if my software, see, there are a lot of softwares in the market, the
Mm.
financial accounting softwares, but we have to be very careful in choosing the software type and which
Mm.
software we are using, basically whether there is a audit trail available in that software or not. So
Mm.
as a owner we have to be careful while choosing the techniques.
Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah.
obviously, most of our audience would be, a lot of them are women who are self-employed, and maybe it's just them. Maybe they only have, it's just a one person business. How is that? How do you deal with that then? Especially women, because I think one of the, and look, it's a generalization, but I think it's fairly true, which is that when it comes to money, and kind of the business end of running a business. For a lot of women, especially if you're brand new into running a business, it can be quite daunting. So how do you help female entrepreneurs in particular?
I'll tell you, like, if I'll talk about the women's running small businesses, like they're running from home, they're working on the freelance, they don't actually take care of the accounting thing. What they do is like the money is coming, the money is going. That's a mindset for them. But it's again the same thing. It is about being systematic in your approach, like just knowing that how much you're earning, how you can grow. See, ultimate goal should be the growth, because why you are doing business for the growth, obviously. So how systematic and how knowledgeable you are for doing the things. My motive is to create the awareness among people, that with what I do basically, when I meet such kind of a female who is not doing that, I always guide that please do it. It will be beneficial for you. If you will record the things, it will, you can know that how much is in your pocket and what you can spend for your growth. Because ultimately, when you spend money, then you make money. So you
Yeah,
have to
I'm definitely that mindset.
yeah.
But I
That's
think
what I mean.
it's all about empowering yourself and also really taking
Yeah,
control of your future, because
exactly.
if you know your numbers, you know where you're heading, right?
True.
Mm.
Because it's very important you have something in the mind for save, in the form of saving as well. As a woman, you can't be dependent on anybody, I would say, not even your
Mm.
husbands.
Yeah,
Because
look, I
if,
think I think
yeah,
I think it's I think being independent, independently kind of
yeah,
not I wouldn't say necessarily wealthy, but financially independent. I think it gives you such a
true.
sense of empowerment and freedom.
Mm,
You
true.
don't have to ask for permission for things. You don't have to, it's yours. It's your hard earned money. What do you think the biggest challenge then is for, say, for female entrepreneurs who are, they're almost like their business is kind of on the side. Like, do you think it is that just not paying attention to money, or do you think it's something else?
uh they actually, they think that their business is on automated mode now, they don't have to take care of anything. That should not be the approach, because even if your business is at a good level, it's developed, you have grown up, like your business has grown up, but still it's important, like just to you see everything. I know it's very difficult to go deep dive into your business. You have specific certain teams, but it is always good to connect with senior management of the team which you are aligning, and taking reporting and charge of all the things with you. So that is, I think, approach that I would recommend to people
Yeah,
who
not knowledge is power, isn't it?
yeah,
Having that knowledge it just gives you that, as you said,
exactly.
a big picture of what's going on and where you're going.
Yeah, and to women's also, I would recommend like don't think about that. It's difficult to do the business, because I've seen so many women's, like they think that we cannot do it. We cannot do it alone.
I'd,
It's
I'd
very
I'd say
difficult
probably the biggest
to
thing a lot of
manage.
women say is that, oh, I'm no good at maths, I'm no good at numbers. So,
Yeah,
it's like,
Mm.
actually, like, it's not an excuse, is it
yeah,
really? I think it's a fear-based feeling of,
true.
you know what you want, and it's like, I don't even want to look at it, because if I'm not getting what I want, is it gonna kind of
Mm.
just help me? So if someone, say for example, you do their books, and you notice that, yeah, a lot more is going out than coming in, how do you help people to balance their books then? What's the sort of biggest or the most common advice you would give?
See, we need to see what is important, what is not important. If that money is going out of my pocket, and if I'm not getting anything return, I should see that why it's going, where it is going. So we have to look at the areas where it is being spent but no output. And if it is going and it's important, then we can see that how we can earn out of that. So basically guiding about the things that, if it is going for, let's suppose, xyz reason, then that xyz is getting some revenue or not to the business. So guiding on the things like expenditure, if it is this expenditure, then income related to that expenditure should come. If not coming, then we should control this. So basically, it's all about deep diving the numbers, deep diving the financial situation, and diving the processes also. Being a financial person, that does not mean that only the numbers. It's all about the process also. If
Yes.
if I don't know the process, if I don't know how the business is operating, I'll not be able to consult. It's very difficult to consult. So
Mm.
numbers is one, systems are second, and the third, I would say, how the business is operating, what is their operations area, which regions they are working on, how they are earning, what they can do the best. So all
Mm.
such factors, it's very important for a financial accountant or a financial advisor to know.
Indeed.
That's very refreshing to hear, actually, because I think often, you hear about, say, in a big business, you might
Yeah.
have a lot of accountants who are actually project managers, or they come in because the big bosses have said, okay, we need to cut costs, we need to make more profit, but they don't really understand the processes. They're just looking at numbers, and for them, those numbers are not people, they're not the process. It's like, okay, you're spending too much here, so that has to go. And it's like, yeah, but do you understand the cost benefit of that? Do you understand actually the ROI, the return on investment for that? So it's really refreshing actually to hear that,
Yeah.
you are seeing the business as the person, the process, the systems, and the numbers are part of that. But it can't be the only thing that you look at.
Yeah, and in fact, I would say the accountants who are working, doing the job with some corporate, they are actually not thinking from that perspective. So it is very important to think also from that perspective, because you are working, you are a part of that organization. You should guide the organization that how the things to be done. So basically, that's my approach. Is me. I do that.
Are there advice that you would probably share with parents to give, to empower the next generation? Um, do you think it's a good thing? Would you give advice in terms of how people, especially I would say women, empowering their kids, being financially savvy?
So I believe in this thing because I always wanted to be independent. I'll tell you that with my experience, I took a career break when I was pregnant for around 2 years because my baby was premature, and I just spent 2 years completely on my child. No work, nothing. My career was on pause, but somehow it was a satisfaction that you are growing your child. But at one point in time, it was like a thinking that it's a career setback for you, like you're not doing anything. Why you are not doing? You have to be independent. So I was running my practice, I was earning the money, but I was not doing anything. So it was like a demotivation for me. So I would encourage and I would recommend all the women's, don't dishearten yourself if such kind of a situation comes up. You can still restart, regrow, and go to the levels. And on for the next generation also, for the parents also, don't think that your female child cannot grow. So always put your efforts for that, and they will grow. Like I would say that girl child can grow faster than a boy.
Yeah, don't let fear hold you back, take control.
Well, I guess
I
it's leading by example, isn't it? If you're financially savvy, if you're watching your pennies and you understand what your numbers, then
Yeah.
it's got to be a good thing. And I suppose sticking to your guns. I think we've got, well, I have the expensive end of the kids because you think when they're born you're spending all this money on buggies and cots and all this kind of stuff, and the things get smaller but they get more expensive as they get older, until the
Yeah,
point where you don't even know, you can't even see it. It's something that's still in the
actually,
cloud
Yeah.
somewhere.
you think that the time will
It's like,
get better,
yeah, but
but it will it
sorry.
goes. You think that the time will get better when they grow, but it's like it is being more complicated, getting more complicated.
It just changes. It just
Yeah.
changes. Janine, you've got, and you're the oldest. Your daughter's the oldest out of I
Yes,
think our kids.
but
You're
So
always in
true.
mum
That's
mode,
why
aren't
I'm not saying anything. I'm just nodding in agreement.
it becomes the next thing is a car, and everything else. So
Exactly,
yeah,
it's
it's
so true, and that's why if you're in a in if you've worked well enough with your finances, if that situation happens, you're smiling because you
Yeah.
catered for these situations. But it's when you haven't catered for these situations and you don't know your numbers, you've got no idea, then that's when the stress levels kick in quite a lot and much higher. And that's why it's very important to have someone like you by their side to really help them make the financials a healthy way. And it's
yeah.
really important.
There was quite an incredible figure. I was listening to the radio the other day, and they were talking about how much money it would cost. Like if you've got a new baby, like by the time that they're old enough to go to university, how much you need to have saved to put them through university. And it was shocking. It was a shocking figure. And they said
Yeah.
most parents are just going, it'll be fine. When we get there, it'll be okay. And yeah, and then as you said, Janine, there's a big shock happening, if you've not planned. So do you help families? Do you help people to save for their kids, their future, their kids' future and things like that? Is that part of what you do?
Yeah, actually, in India, I would say it's a major point of discussion that because in India the weddings are also being done at a grand level, so there's a lot of money. Apart from the study, a lot of money is being spent on that. But seriously, if I talk about me and my husband, like we don't think too much about this because we believe in our child that she'll do.
Mm.
She'll do it herself.
Yeah. So we are not worried from that perspective.
Wow. Wow. And in terms of um, women empowering, in terms of moving forward with the financial industry, are there any events that's in your future where you will be collaborating with females only? Just asking to get an idea of what your circle's like.
So I'm more active on LinkedIn, and I basically promote LinkedIn just to encourage all the women's, like if they wanted to pursue business, I can help.
Mm,
I can be a help for that. I can guide because I've seen both the situations, like when I was in corporate jobs
mm,
versus I'm in business. So I've seen lots of ups and downs in both the scenarios, and there are people who are facing such kind of challenges, but it is very important to see what capability and caliber you have. So I always guide the people that how you can grow and how you can do well in your careers. So
We've lost
specifically
Janine.
business.
Her internet must have just suddenly dropped out. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think one of the most interesting things is obviously with what we're doing on the podcast is to listen to people's stories as well. So can you share a particular story of a client that really, by working with you, it really changed things for them? What stories have you got for us?
Okay, so so I'll tell you the example. I worked with one of my client. They are into the healthcare industry. So as you know, UAE people are in their comfort zone. They know that they have a good business. They are earning money, but they're not habitual of making the financial statements. They're not ready to see their financial position. They know that they have the money in the bank account, but not ready to prepare their financial positions. And nowadays the laws are being more stricter and stricter. Now that client came to me and say that, see, can you please help me with reading my financial positions, because I want to grow and I want to sell my business now. So I basically looked at everything, like how the things are being done in past. So basis that I did so much of efforts in putting those numbers to the system, creating the reports out of it, and giving it to the client so that it really helped him in such a manner, because one of his clinic was not earning the revenue, and we have seen that a lot of cost is going over there, but there is no income out of that clinic. So I suggested him to shut down that. So it helped in increasing the profits and the number, basically the profits for the overall business.
So
So
it's almost
that's
like you. So you're a bit like a forensic accountant as well. Like you really look at, like, where is it going? Is it bringing the money in? Is it
yes.
worth it? And I think that's. Are you quite kind with your clients? Like, do you kind of recognize that this is an emotional, especially because, I mean, if you're running your own business, it's like your baby. It's like one of your children.
Yeah. Actually, I'm being very professional in my approach. I look my client as a family, and I always want my client to grow in their careers. So if they are stuck, it's my responsibility to guide them and taking them out of that problem. So I
Mm.
take their business as my business, and I look from that perspective, and I resolve the things for the clients.
Yay, Janine, thank you.
I was
Missed you
about to
missed the
say,
best part.
sorry.
You missed the best part of it.
Of course, of
So when,
course.
when so when you worked with that client, what was the outcome for them?
So their profits have increased, and now we are planning to have their financial statements ready and to sell the business which actually he wants to do, and he wants to enter into the new ventures. So the planning, he's happy with, like, satisfied the
Yeah.
work which is being done. So if my client is happy, I am happy. It's like that kind of a feeling for me.
Janine, we lost you in the wilderness. You okay? You're
Yes,
back
I'm
in.
okay. I
We lost
just
you in the ether. You were floating around.
typical Friday, just hanging in there, trying to find my space. But I'm back, so it's all good. I missed the part. But I just want to quickly ask something here. Um, you know, especially with women, there's a lot of changes happening, especially when they start a family or divorce or getting married. So, what are the significant life with those life changes? How can you help women to have a healthy financial perspective?
So I would say that these things obviously impact your mind, because when you are in such kind of a situation, it's like a very sad situation, and you sometime you demotivate and dishearten yourself. But in that situation, what I would recommend is always good to divert your mind to other places, good to divert in the areas where you will want to do what you want to do, what you want to learn. So if you divert your mind, then it's good. Then it will be easy for you to recover out of such kind of situations. So divert, do, and achieve
Hmm.
in the financials and mental and financial health both.
Yeah,
Good
love that.
advice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely valuable insights. Sure. Amazing. Really, really learning a lot here today. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, Janine.
Yeah, we've had an amazing conversation. We're not going to do the full hour today because we've all got other things kind of going on. I think we could probably talk for a very long time though. To Jyoti, I think you've just got such
Mm.
a warm approach, and I think you can really feel that authentic sense
Yeah.
of wanting to look after your clients, like really
Yes.
wanting the best for your clients. This is not just about, this is about people. And I think a lot of people who work in the financial industry, if they're just looking at the numbers, as I said, you miss the person in front of you. But I love your approach
Mm.
of look after the people and look after the numbers.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
important.
rare that you can find an accountant like Jyoti where it's very authentic and it's about the human and not about
Which
the
is why
money.
we have her on the podcast, because we met her. We were
Exactly.
like, yeah, she's got to come on the
Exactly.
podcast. We've got to share. We've
Insightful.
got to show her to
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah,
Show
Yes,
the
we
world.
provide a platform
it's a good
for women.
experience for me.
No, we appreciate it. This platform is here to really provide women where they can learn from each other and celebrate successes and,
Sure.
break down those barriers, right? Because there's
True.
so many.
I
So
agree.
if you've got a final piece of wisdom for our audience, what would that be?
Believe in yourself. Think, don't think that something is impossible, because everything is possible.
Indeed. Indeed. I love that. It was an
Yeah,
absolute
I love it.
pleasure having you. We're going to wrap this up now. Thank you so much for being our
Thank
guest. You're an
you.
absolute superstar. And to our listeners, I hope you've taken some notes and a little bit financial savvy. If not, you know what to do. Contact Jyoti.
Jyoti's information is down below. And speaking of numbers, if you
Yeah.
like the content of the Women Wise podcast and you would like to see more and you want to support Janine and I in taking this to the next level, and believe me, it is going to the next level in 2025. But we need your help. We need your help to move to a studio. So that's going to be our next level. So Jyoti, I think maybe we need to have a chat with you about how we can look at the Women Wise financials. But if you'd like to support us, there's a link below the video where you can buy us a coffee or two and support us in our podcast, because we love doing it and we want to keep going and we want to really elevate the Women Wise podcast and the women that we actually have on the show as well. And it is such an honor for Janine and I to meet people like Jyoti, to have these conversations, because we always learn so much from these conversations as well. This is I think it's kind of selfish, isn't it? We're like, no, we want to have the people on that we want to have on, that we
want to learn from.
we want to learn
Next
from.
time we'll record it in the studio.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got some big plans, but it's these things all cost. So yeah, absolutely. So if anyone would like to sponsor our show, that would be amazing. So we're looking for sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Every month we're going to look for a different sponsor, and starting in January. So yeah, we've got some new things happening, and so it's amazing.
Very excited.
The last thing to say is, have a great week, and
Absolutely.
we'll be back.
And
another
remember,
guest.
be kind to yourself.
Absolutely. Jyoti, thank you so much. Janine, as always, my amazing co-host, thank you.
My Sara.
The rest of your evening.
Thank you.